The Mouse and the Moon. At the edge of a great forest, where a fragrant meadow met the shadow of tall, whispering trees, lived a tiny mouse named Mella. She was the smallest of her siblings, barely visible among the grass, but she had the biggest eyes, large and shining like two dewdrops, reflecting the stars and the moon. Mella was not an ordinary mouse. Every evening when the sky darkened and the crickets began their concert, she would sit on her favourite rock, flat and still warm from the sun, and gaze at the sky. She looked at the moon. It was so far away, and yet it felt so close. Sometimes when the wind blew just right, she thought she could hear its gentle calling. "I wish I could touch you," she would whisper. Her dream became well known throughout the forest. Mella would tell everyone she met about it. Beetles would nod, frogs giggled, butterflies floated gently above her and smiled indulgently. Only the old owl, who knew many stories, responded with seriousness. "Mella," she said quietly, "the moon isn't an apple you can pick from a tree. It's up there, high above, too high even for me." "But does that mean I should stop dreaming?" asked the little mouse. The owl was silent for a long time, then replied, "Dreams are good. They lift our hearts, but sometimes it's worth asking. What is it we're truly trying to reach?" Mella didn't quite understand those words, but she didn't stop dreaming. One day, she decided to act. First, she climbed the tallest tree she could find. It was an old oak whose branches brushed the clouds. She struggled, climbing from limb to limb, her tiny paws trembling. Finally, she reached the top, where the leaves whispered the softest secrets of the wind. She looked up at the sky. The moon was farther away than ever. Disappointed, she slipped from the branch and fell into a squirrel's nest. "Trying to fly to the moon?" asked a sleepy squirrel. "Yes," Mella replied, "but trees aren't enough. Maybe try with the help of birds." With hope in her heart, she ran to the owl, then to a stork, and even to a tawny owl. She begged, pleaded, promised nuts and songs. But none of the birds wanted to carry her so high. They said it was too dangerous, that it couldn't be done, that it wasn't worth it. She didn't give up. She began collecting things: springy sticks, leaves, dandelion sap, and bits of feathers. She worked day and night, until finally she built a catapult. She set it on a hill, right by an anthill. The ants were very displeased. She climbed in, counted to 3, and bang! She soared high, through the leaves, through the clouds, and then straight into a haystack. She lay there for a while, dazed, with some straw in her mouth. "Did you make it?" asked a bunny who came to see the commotion. "Number, but I was higher than ever before," she answered proudly. A few days later, a human appeared nearby. He brought something large, a telescope. He set it up in a clearing, not far from where Mella slept in her burrow. That night, when the man walked away for a moment, Mella snuck up and climbed the tripod. She looked through the lens. She froze. The moon was close. She saw its surface, crater by crater, its greyness, its silence, its emptiness. It was no longer the smiling face from childhood dreams. It was beautiful, but lifeless. Unimaginably quiet and lonely. She returned to her burrow with a heart full of thoughts. The next night she sat again on her rock. She looked up at the sky, then at the meadow. The grasses swayed, fireflies danced, crickets played their serenades. Here was the scent of damp earth, the song of birds, the laughter of frogs, the whisper of leaves. And suddenly she understood. The moon was a dream, grand, distant, inspiring, but what she truly longed for was the feeling of closeness, of wonder, of purpose, and that she had every day, in her friends, in nature, in the present moment. From that night on, Mela didn't stop looking at the sky, but she looked differently, with tenderness, not longing. She knew that dreams are like stars. They are meant to guide us, not always to be reached. Years passed, and Mela grew. She became a wise mouse, telling stories to the younger ones. When a little mouse would say she wanted to fly or build a bridge across the river, Mela would smile and say, "Dream boldly, but don't forget to look around. Sometimes the greatest wonders are right beside you." On moonlit nights, she would sit on the hill with the young mice and show them the sky. "Look," she'd say, "there's the moon. Distant, beautiful, cold, and here we are, alive, warm together, and that is our true treasure."